my parents ask me about it, I probably won't tell them the truth because I don't want them to worry that I might get bad again.
Once I took your medication to know what it's like.
Women are so sexy because, like, they'll be wearing low-waisted jeans and, like, a long shirt, but it shows a little bit of their tummy in that low waist. And you can see that perfect curve. Like, why are you actually having me on my hands and knees right now? Why am I actually salivating at the mouth, seeing that little crack of skin? Just that little bit that those low-rise long shirt offer me. It's so different from, like, a crop top in low-waisted or, like, high-waisted in a crop top where you can see, like, everything. I just love that little piece. It's so sexy. Like, it's so hot. I will kiss you on your face.
Once I took your medication to know what it's like. Why can't you be good for something?
I miss you, and I will always miss you, but I cannot live like that.
I get good grades, I go to church, I'm a cheerleader.
Honey, I know you float right back. She'll be the best you ever had if you let her.
Peter, you're going to die doing this. You're going to die in that stupid costume.
Having anxiety is probably one of the most lonely, most isolating things to have because you are your own worst enemy and you live inside your head. And I know there are thousands of people out there who suffer just like me. And we need to talk.
I was literally locking myself in the bathroom and making myself bleed because I thought I deserved, you know.
My words you gave me even when you felt like dying. Your new girl is my clone.
Because I do this time after time after time. I do all this shit for other people. And then I wake up and I'm empty. I have nothing.
What are you talking about?
Medicate, meditate, save your soul for Jesus. I'm not quiet, you've been quiet, just receiving what you said. Reeling, feeding, feeling filled by everything you fed.
What if you stay this time?
Interlinked. Do you long for having your heart interlinked? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Do you dream about being interlinked?
Interlinked.
What's it like to hold your child in your arms? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Do you feel that there's a part of you that's missing? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
He's on the run and your daddy's here. It's never over. She is the tear.
And if a twin flame bruise paint you blue, just between us did the love affair.
Difference changing in the distance. Time consumes our image.
I was worried that you were smoking too much pot. Meanwhile, you're out doing every drug on the planet and hiding it and lying.
You know, everything for you. It's about me.
I'll save your soul for Jesus. Throw a punch for...
We accept the love we think we deserve.
Close your eyes. Have no fear. The monster's gone. Mr. Loverman.
And all the dawn was cold and
We accept the love we think we deserve.
So the thing I keep thinking about is, was it worth it to be happy for a little bit, even though it ended up sad? Or would it have been better if the whole thing never happened?
things fall apart. Ask you how you're doing, and I let you lie.
I think there must be something wrong with me, Linus. Christmas is coming, but I'm not happy. I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel.
I used to make up long speeches to you after you left.
Lyle, what about you? You burn yourself with cigarettes, you cut yourself, you slam your head into walls. We both know you don't deserve that, man.
Imagine how crazy it would be if you would like someone and they would like you back.
Never was much of a romantic. I could never take the intimacy.
And you don't seem to understand.
This was Saga, bitch.
If you have to keep guessing where you stand with someone, maybe sit down. Grab some coffee, get on a train, run away, leave home. Move on. Not knowing is the same thing as knowing you're good but not good enough for them, begging for scraps only to watch them throw a feast for someone else. Love isn't supposed to feel like waiting in line for something you already paid for. It isn't supposed to taste like salt on your tongue from the tears you swore you wouldn't cry. Maybe you think the nights you gave them, naked and seen, were worth it, because for a moment their hands felt like home. You deserve a home that doesn't make you question whether the roof will collapse when the storm comes. So stop trying to keep your balance, wondering where you stand with them. Plant your feet and run. Put your heart in the suitcase and don't apologize for leaving. Don't look back, don't send a postcard, don't answer the phone. Love doesn't make you feel like this. You shouldn't have to wonder. And if you do, then I think you already know your answer.
I'm 16, sobbing in my mother's arms, the same way I cried in her arms when she gave me my name. But I'm not crying because I've been given the gift of life. The mascara runs down my face because I want to take my own. She consoles me and tells me about her first love and how it broke her. The same way it's breaking me. She says it'll pass. But that doesn't help right now. Right now, the pain feels like it's the only thing that's real. She asks me to run some errands with her. She's afraid of what I'll do if she leaves me alone in this house. Afraid that if she blinks, I'll disappear and there will be no more sobbing, just silence. We skim the aisles as I check the items off on her list. The fluorescent lights flicker above like they're mocking my fragility. I stare at the fruit section while my mother finds the ripest apples to put in the cart. I pick up an orange, slightly bruised, but probably still good in the middle. Put it down, she says gently. Pick a nicer one. Her words hang in the air and I wonder if she's talking about me. Can you still love damaged goods? I ask her, my voice barely above a whisper. Can you still love something that's been beaten, broken down? I ask again, my voice cracking, desperately searching her face for an answer. Can you put shattered glass back together again? But this time I don't want the truth. I don't want to hear that the cracks will always show, that nothing can ever be as it was. She doesn't answer right away, and the silence between us feels heavier than the weight of my thoughts. It's as if she's sifting through her own cracks, remembering all the times she had to piece herself together. You can try, she finally says, but her eyes look tired, like she's still picking up the pieces of herself. In the car on the way home, we drive in silence, and I stare out the window, wondering if anyone else can see the bruises, the fractures, or if I've gotten good enough at hiding them. Maybe that's why she's afraid to leave me alone, because she knows what it's like to feel like a shattered vase, beautiful once, but now only sharp edges. I don't tell her that the real reason I'm crying is because I'm scared the damage inside of me is too far gone to fix, that I'm sure I'll never be good in the middle again. When we get home, I head to my room and collapse onto my bed, the weight of it all pulling me down like gravity. I wonder if she's still sitting in the kitchen, holding that perfect apple she picked, thinking about the orange I left behind.
You look perfect. You look different. I don't wonder about your indifference. If I said you could never touch me, you'd come over and say I looked lovely. Oh, you kissed me just to kiss me, not to make me cry. It was simple, you were sweetness. Let's just sit a while.
Love a guy that just doesn't give face. Like, I like when their face card does sort of decline. The guy from Euphoria that everyone's like, I'm madly in love with, I'm not saying he's not attractive. I'm just saying it's not what I like. I never end up dating and liking people that give the best face card ever. Let me explain a little bit further. The ones where you like walk past and you really wouldn't give like a second glance always end up being your best fuck. They end up being the best lover, person to date, just full-blown package, right? The people that look like Bill Skarsgård, like, he's the only person I can think of, I hope I'm saying his last name right, he is fugly in the hottest way possible. That man is so fucking fine. Like, I could not find a man more ugly and attractive at the same time. Like, you have to look a couple times. You know, you gotta kind of, you're like, But when you really look into it, that man is fine as all fucking, oh my god. and I'm going to say a really controversial one. Listen, one time I went to see a movie with Steve Buscemi. Is that his name? Steve Buscemi? I don't know. Whoever the fuck that guy is. You gotta look a couple times, but he's kind of sexy. And I'm not, like, I mean this with my chest. All of my favorite boyfriends and exes, or whatever, my exes, have been the ones where my mom's like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, literally, what the fuck is wrong with you? They always just end up being the one that you hold near and dear to your heart. And they're the sweetest little sweet pea in your chest, because you're just like, you know, you gotta look at them a few times. You gotta just give it a double, just gotta give them a look. Like, I don't know. I like whenever you're out in public and people are like, does she know what he looks like? Like, that's sexy to me. I find that sexy. I like an original scary face. Like, I like the scary, like, gritty looking style to a man. I like when they're like a little scary. Really does something for me.
When are you going to take God seriously? I promise the teenager's life that you're scared of missing out on.
I wonder why you ended up on this video. Maybe it's because you need to have enough respect for yourself to walk away and stop settling in all these stupid little things that you're settling in. I need you to start listening to people's actions more than their words. Anybody can say anything and love bomb you and make you feel all kinds of ways just with words, but how about we start looking at these people's actions, Have you ever sat there and looked at every single one of their actions and aligned it with their words? Do they ever align? Probably not. And is that something you need to be in? No. Because whether you realize it or not, if you are staying in unhealthy talking stages, relationships, or something that you are not worth, you will become not worth anything. You're going to chip away at your confidence and how much you think you're worth if you keep going in these stupid things that you do not deserve. You will become this low-hanging fruit if all you do is hang with low-hanging fruit. Now realize that you do deserve the best out there and stop settling for less, because you will become less. Well, let's grow up, okay?
If you were getting into God but you have no idea where to start, I'm here. First and foremost, get a Bible. This is so important, okay? You don't have to get a physical Bible right now. I suggest getting it at some point, but get a Bible online. If you live in a household that's kind of anti-Christ, then I suggest getting an online Bible just for protection. I completely understand that we should not be ashamed of God, but for people who live in a household that God really isn't welcomed, it comes to an extent. I understand. If you have no idea where to start in the Bible, start by reading the New Testament. It has a couple books in there, and it starts with Matthew. It kind of talks about the life of Jesus and all that. If you're someone like me who doesn't really understand what you're reading, highlight verses that stick out to you. You can even look it up and get a deeper understanding, talk about it, annotate it, highlight it, understand it, and foremost, definitely apply it to your life so you can live by it each and every day. God really speaks to you here, okay? So just remember that. Prayer is literally so powerful. People overlook it, but it is so powerful. When you wake up, pray for your day, okay? Pray for other people. Be more of a listener. Observe other people so you can pray for them. I do that. Pray for your problems. Pray for what you're thankful for. Pray for your family. Pray for people who are mean to you. Pray literally about everything and anything. God knows exactly what you're going through. He sees everything. He is the person who will never judge you. He won't screenshot anything. He is going to be your best friend, okay? Next, I want y'all to strive to be more like Jesus. Strive to treat other people like Jesus treated people. We will never be perfect, so when you fall down, get back up. Do not eat at yourself for it. Learn to forgive yourself like Jesus forgives you. However, do not take advantage of Jesus' forgiveness, because it is super precious. You and Jesus, that is y'all's own relationship, okay? And it's such an eye-opening thing when you first start taking God seriously and start learning about him and start understanding him. It's going to be difficult to let go of things. It's going to be easier to let go of your past life. There's going to be different things that you struggle with, but it's so worth it, okay? Lastly, have a good mindset about everything and anything. As Christians, we have to have a good mindset because a lot of things happen. There's ups and there's downs. Remember that. But it's amazing. He doesn't automatically take your trials and tribulations away, but he brings peace to them. I'm so at peace. And please remember that sometimes you're going to be the only Bible somebody reads, okay? Be understanding that other people are God's children, so be nice. I'm trying to be nice too. But just remember that everyone is going at their own pace. Everyone is going through their own battles. So be graceful and be understanding. I really hope this helped. Remember that I love you and Jesus loves you even more. And to please be safe and please be kind.
How is that possible?
Here are some more health risks that undereating and malnutrition can cause to your body. Your bladder muscles will weaken, causing you to have to go to the bathroom all of the time. You can develop gastroparesis, which is when your digestive system stops functioning properly. You'll have heightened symptoms of anxiety, depression, and panic attacks simply because your brain chemistry is changing because you're undernourishing your brain. Your immune system may weaken, causing you to get sick more easily. If you start undereating and starving yourself at a young age, especially during puberty, it can stunt your growth. If you don't change that quickly, then RIP. Just kidding, but like, I'm being serious, it can stunt your growth. You can develop anemia, which is caused by low iron levels, and it can lead to fatigue, muscle weakness, and you can bruise more easily. You can literally lose your memory. I remember in high school, actually, I don't remember a lot in high school because I was undernourishing myself so much that I literally cannot remember things. Lastly, I've mentioned this before, but you literally just lose yourself and you lose your life. You're risking like trying to be your skinniest over life. And you'll just live a miserable, horrible life and you'll be a bitch all the time because you're so fucking hungry. So, please take care of yourselves, nourish yourselves because you only live once, and food is fuel and memories and so much more at the end of the day. And you physically need food to survive. It's just like water, you need it to survive.
Let them lose you. I'm serious. Let them. Let them miss out on everything that you have to offer. Let them miss out on the amazing person that you are and the way that you would have changed their life. If someone wants to cheat, if they want to ghost you, if they want to hurt you, let them. It might be the hardest thing you'll ever do, but do you really want to end up with someone who you had to beg to stick around? Who you had to beg not to hurt you? If someone is going to make a mistake, they're going to make it no matter how hard you try to stop them. Whether it happens 6 months from now or 6 days from now, just let them do it. It's their loss. They're either going to mess up now and disappoint you and you're going to let them and you're going to let them go, or they're going to mess up over and over for years while you beg them to stop, while you try to prevent it, while you drive yourself insane trying to keep them around. Let them lose you. Let them.
5 signs a woman has been mentally abused. 1. She always apologizes even when she hasn't done anything wrong. That's because she was always blamed even when it wasn't her fault. 2. She never believes compliments, no matter how often she receives them. This is due to traumatic experiences such as criticism in childhood or an unfaithful partner. 3. She breaks down in small fights. The accumulation of toxic arguments has weakened and traumatized her, making her seek escape through these breakdowns. 4. She needs a lot of reassurance. Emotional neglect has caused her to fear loss. Therefore, she prioritizes emotional security, which she could not get from a previous partner. 5. She never asks for help, and it's hard for her to do. That's because she is used to doing everything alone, as there was never anyone she could rely on.
This is probably the scariest story I've ever read. If you're new here, hi. I usually talk about some pretty scary stuff, and recently I went an email where anyone who finds this page could send me their ghost stories. And let me tell you, I have not only been getting a lot of emails, I genuinely did not think that these were going to be as scary as they are. And just a little PSA, these stories are so scary that I've had to start reading them during the day, and this story is one of the reasons why. So let's get into it. This story comes from someone who would like to remain anonymous, and for obvious reasons I'm going to respect that. So before we get into it, everyone in this story is ranged from 14 to like 17. And this happened a few months ago. So every other month, the person who sent me this email and his family go and travel 5 hours across country to go see his cousins on his dad's side. In this particular time, they decided to watch paranormal movies when they arrived. And after the movie was over, him, his cousins, and his brothers decided to make a DIY Ouija board. They took this board upstairs to like the main floor and started asking questions. Specifically, how many of us are in this room? And it answered correctly. They continued to ask pretty simple questions, and every single question was answered correctly. Then they asked, are you... And I'm not going to say the name of this thing because it freaks me out. But they ask, are you? And the planchette stopped. Then suddenly, their uncle burst through the front door and they slide the board underneath the coffee table and did not say goodbye. So the person who sent me this email, his 2 brothers sleep upstairs for the night, while him and his cousin sleep downstairs. And the next morning, his brothers rush downstairs and start claiming that they were hearing banging coming from the attic the previous night. And when they were questioned what it sounded like, his brothers started banging on the table, and the person who sent me this email said it was so loud we didn't believe them. The email also says that they were not allowed to check the attic because their uncle didn't want them to go up there. However, he states that it was like an attic out of the movies where they have the little cord and you pull it down and stairs fall. The next night, the person who sent me this email and his cousins decide to sleep upstairs and the brothers downstairs. So they just flip-flopped to see if they could hear what was going on the previous night. And they did. He woke up at exactly 3 a.m. to the loudest banging coming from the attic. He tried to wake up his cousins, but they were not waking up. He says that once the banging stopped, he had to go to the bathroom, so he got up and went to open the door, but the knob wasn't budging. Almost like someone was on the other side holding the doorknob. And when he was able to open the door a little bit, he noticed something, and that was the hallway light wasn't on. And I guess in this house, the hallway light is always on, so the fact it was off immediately started raising red flags. And I guess you can see the door to the bathroom, and it was just slightly open, and it was just swaying back and forth. And at this point, the person who sent me this got scared and slammed the door shut. At which point, it wakes the cousins up in the room. And when he explains what happened to him, they stay up until sunrise. And at the end of the email, he says that whenever he tells people this story, they think he's crazy. And all I gotta say is, I don't think you're crazy because I have had the same experiences. I also made a DIY Ouija board and did not say goodbye. And whatever was in the board was obviously not just secluded in the board, if you know what I mean. And I would hear the craziest things for months after. This is also why I tell people not to play with Ouija boards. But anyways, that's gonna do it for me. Stay tuned for more ghost stories.
This house is said to be one of the most haunted places in America, and I promise you, you'll want to hear this story all the way through. The Sally House, located in Atchison, Kansas, has been standing since the late 1800s. It was originally built as a family home for Michael Finney, his wife Kate, and their 3 children. But sadly, Michael died inside the home shortly after it was completed in 1871, and it was said that over the years, several other members of the Finney family passed away in the home from natural causes. The house itself is said to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl named Sally, but there's no record of a little girl by that name ever living in the home. As the story goes, Dr. Charles Finney, believed to be the son of the home's original owner, Michael, eventually inherited the home after the deaths of his sister and her husband. He reportedly turned the first floor into a doctor's office, complete with examination rooms, while he and his family lived upstairs. According to local legend, one night, a frantic mother brought her 6-year-old daughter Sally to Dr. Finney's office. Sally was suffering from unbearable abdominal pain, and when Dr. Finney realized her appendix was about to burst, he made the decision to operate inside the home immediately. This meant that by the time Dr. Finney made his first incision, the anesthetic hadn't yet taken effect, or, in some versions of the story, he hadn't used any at all. Sally, who was in unimaginable pain, began screaming, and she was terrified and unable to understand what was happening. Tragically, she passed away on the operating table, and it was said that in her final moments, Sally believed Dr. Finney was torturing her rather than trying to save her life. While the story can't be confirmed and there's no evidence of a Sally dying in the home, it's left many wondering, is the ghost of Sally truly a little girl, or could it be something far darker disguising itself as a child? Throughout the years, countless people have visited the Sally house and experienced all kinds of paranormal activity, everything from apparitions and disembodied voices to objects moving on their own and violent attacks on visitors. The ghost of Sally has earned the nickname the man-hating ghost due to the overwhelming number of male visitors being the ones to suffer the worst of these attacks. One of the most terrifying stories comes from 1992 when a young couple, Tony and Debbie Pickman, moved into the home expecting their first child. At first, nothing happened. A month went by without incident, but as they started to settle into the house, things began to take a sinister turn. Lights flickered on and off, and their dog started barking at nothing. Over the next few months, the Pickmans experienced increasingly strange occurrences, but after their child was born, the activity grew more intense, and a strange, unsettling mold began to grow on items throughout the house. One day, the couple returned home to to find all of the toys in the nursery had been arranged in a perfect circle. That same night, Tony felt an intense burning sensation on his back, and when he and Debbie checked, they were horrified to find 3 large scratches running down his spine. This activity was becoming increasingly unexplainable. Debbie sometimes felt as though their child was playing with someone or something that wasn't there. She'd see objects move around the nursery as if guided by this unseen hand. It was as though a presence was lurking, watching them, and the more they tried to ignore it, the worse it seemed to get. During their child's birthday party, a doll in the house inexplicably caught fire, and neighbors were seeing lights on in the nursery when no one was home. Now, Tony and Debbie did not want to move out of this house they had just settled into, so they consulted with a psychic, Barbara Connors, who visited the home on several occasions. And she suggested that Tony and Debbie try to live with Sally and embrace her as if she were their daughter. She said she didn't believe Sally was evil, but the disturbances only intensified and the attacks became increasingly focused on Tony. The Pickmans reached out to the show's sightings along with several other paranormal investigators hoping to get answers. They were advised to get rid of any toys that could attract entities, and after the sightings episode aired, the Sally house gained widespread attention, both from curious onlookers and skeptics who believed the whole thing was a hoax. But the Pickmans remained firm in their belief that something truly demonic was happening in their home. Tony reportedly saw Sally on 2 separate occasions. The first time she appeared as a little girl, but the second time was far more terrifying. Sally, or whatever entity was pretending to be her, tried to pull him out of bed, and when he didn't comply, the figure morphed into a grotesque demonic creature, part animal, part human, with rotting flesh. For Tony, this horrifying encounter just sealed the deal that whatever haunted the house was not the innocent spirit of a child, but something much more sinister. After years of enduring both mental and physical assaults, the Pickmans finally decided to leave. Sally house was eventually leased by the owner, Les Smith Jr., to a new couple. This new couple were allegedly involved in satanic worship. Now, I'll admit I have a hard time with this part of the story. I get that some people are into those things, but I also feel like many of these claims about satanic worship are rooted in the exaggerated fears from the era of satanic panic, but I digress. One day, Les said he decided to visit the house for a routine maintenance check, and what he discovered was a pentagram drawn on the basement floor. He said he also found ritualistic remnants scattered around and asked the family to leave immediately. This day, the Sally house continues to attract paranormal investigators, skeptics, and curious visitors, each experiencing their own share of terrifying events. While most people do experience some kind of paranormal activity here, most of the attacks are focused towards male visitors. Currently, the Sally house is open to the public, and after signing a waiver, visitors can conduct their own paranormal investigations, even spend the night, and see for themselves whether the house is haunted by the spirit of a little girl or a demonic entity. If you have made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you for sticking around. Let me know what you think about the Sally house. Do you believe it's haunted? Do you believe it's haunted by a little girl, a demonic entity? And if you have a haunted location, an urban legend, or a creepy story you want me to share, feel free to comment that down below as well. As always, I appreciate every single one of you and all of your support. I look forward to seeing you in another video.